Let me know if my screen is visible to you guys. Just just a hint. Is my screen visible? Yes or no?
Yes, it is visible.
Cool, cool, cool. Should be fine. Okay. So today again, topic is simple. First of all, I don't think this is the first time you have been like taught this whole join thing. It has been discussed before. Again, like I'll assume that you have some sort of basic familiarity. I'm not going to go into the formula. Again, that is the secondary part. If you have understood join on the very basic level, that is important. Okay, so we'll try to cover that one more time. So I'll start with two simple table here. And again, I can name anything. Like for the time being, I'm just going with user ID and let's say session ID, SSN ID, and duration. It could be coming up from maybe, for example, you can say Instagram or something like that. How many users created what kind of session and what was critical like total duration for the same, right? Let's say we have another table and we just have two columns. Very simple. User ID and name. Listen very carefully what I'm going to discuss. User ID, session ID, duration, user ID, and name. Again, we have discussed previously. In this case, this guy can be primary key. This guy cannot be primary key. Again, duration cannot be primary key. In this case, let's say every entry is unique to a given user. So I have a user ID, let's say 001, and his name is, let's say, Amit. And we have 002. Let's say, sorry, let's say his name is Rahul. Again, I'm very bad at naming, so with that. 003. Let's say Sam. 004. Okay. Okay, so in this case, I'm making sure that every user ID is unique. I can enforce the condition that this user ID is going to be primary key in my schema. Okay, now one more thing. This name, it can repeat. I can have multiple guys with the same name. So I can have another guy, let's say 005, and his name is again Ankit. Again, the details could be different. Maybe his surname is different or whatever, right? But these two are different guys. The unique identifier is not the name but the user ID. In this case, for every given row, the unique identifier is going to be the session ID. So session ID is going to be unique for every given user, even though user is going to be repeated. Okay, very simple condition. Let's say this is my users table and this is my sessions table. Okay, so I have two tables, one is sessions, one is users. In this case, I'm only going to capture, or maybe in this table, I'm only going to capture only those users who have legitimately created a session. Okay, so they have logged into the app and they have created a valid session. Here I'm just listing all of my users. It's not necessary for the user to have created a session. It's just like they came, they installed the app, and I have their user ID and their name assigned in a given table. I don't know anything about whether they actually logged in and maybe like created a given session. Let's say this session is only for some specific thing, like maybe just logging in and interacting with some elements, right? So this is going to be only created when you have interacted with the app. This is going to be created whenever you have logged in or maybe created an account on the app. Should be very clear. Okay. Let's say only just 001 had two session, 003 guy, and maybe just one session from 004. So 001 is what, like Amit, he came and created two sessions. Sam guy, he came and created just one session, and Ankit 004, he came and created just one session. Session ID could be anything like 0, S0, S1. Again, it just have to be unique. S2, S3. Duration you can call it D1, D1, D2, D3. Doesn't matter. D second, it doesn't matter. Okay. In joins, whatever I'm trying to do is basically have certain condition which must be met before I try to pair any given row from this table. Let's I'm just join these two tables. So any given row from this table to any given row from the second table. Now what do I want? For example, I want to join this table and this table only based on their user ID. So for example, I only want the users who have actually created a session, and maybe I want their name. Okay, so in this case there is one thing very important to know, that session table only has information about the users who have actually created a session, but user has all those users irrespective of the fact whether they have created a session or not. Okay, so if I just want those users who have created a session and the corresponding name, the syntax is very simple. First of all, you're going to do some select whatever columns you want from these two tables. Again, everything is going to be joined. Okay, by everything I means all the columns of both the tables will be available for the select statement. Okay, something is going to be there, any user ID, session ID, duration, again name, doesn't matter. From I can call this session, maybe I'll just change the color, sorry, not the right tool. This must be better. Okay, so select some columns from sessions. Okay, and again I think I'm not going to worry about it, from sessions. Okay, and I'm just going to name it some alias, let's say T1. Okay, some join clause, I'm not going to specify whether it's going to be left join, right join, outer join. Maybe I'm going to ask you guys. Okay, so from session T1, okay, there will be some clause here, join. I want to join with users T2. Here is going to be some clause, so let's call this the matching clause. Maybe I'm going to call it matching conditions. Okay, this is what type of. So see the template, you're going to select some rows, select some columns from session table. It has to be joined with the user table with some matching condition, and again you can have some filter condition as well. So again, in many cases you are able to put that filter condition in the matching condition as well. So I'm just going to go into that in a bit, but this is going to be the template. Okay, maybe you have some order and some limit. Again, these are not necessary from the for this moment. From whatever has been told to you, okay, in the previous classes about join, can you give me the type of join that I would need to get all those user IDs from session table and the respective name from the users table? Anyone? I'll wait for 30 seconds. If no one comes up, I'm going to ask a name. Okay?
Left out or
Say your name first, yeah.
yeah, it's Prashant.
Prashant. Okay. Which join?
Left outer join the complete records from the left table and the relevant records from the right table.
Okay, so one option is left outer join. Cool. Is this the only kind of join that is going to give me the answer that I require? That's the next question. Harshvardhan.
We can also use inner join only. The left join in that will be the sessions. That will give the same result.
Inner join. So you are saying that inner join is going to give you the same result as left join? Is that so?
Yeah, if I am if I am writing from sessions, then inner join to users, then it will give the same result.
Same results. Okay. Any other clarification for anyone here? किसी और कोई लग रहा है कोई और solution भी हो सकता है? Okay, cool. You are correct. the person who answered that is going to be either inner join or maybe left join if I'm taking the session table first and user table second is going to be the same kind of join. Now why? First of all, if I want all those users from session table, this whole information has to be there. This session table information has to be there. Now if I think about it, I don't need all of those guys of the user table. So write join like session write user is never going to be an option. Okay, because I don't care about those guys who haven't created a session. Okay, now start with the basic thing is that start with if the problem can be solved with an inner join, and that is and believe me, that is kind of the join you're going to use most in your working capability, right? Most of the time you're going to use inner join. In some cases you'll be using left join, in some cases you'll be using right join. Again, left right join is basically the same thing. You just have to switch the order of the tables, right? So it's going to be the same result. And in very rare cases you'll be using the full outer join. I'll come to that later कि exactly है क्या full outer join क्या है left right में क्या difference है inner exactly क्या करता है the machine level like machine level mapping I'm going to discuss. Okay, so in this case you can think about it. Okay, if I want everything from the session and the relevant information from the users table, first of all think if the left join is going to solve the problem or not, and of course it is, right? Because I want everything from this and only the matching record from the users table. So you can see that 001 has a match. Again, 001, the same guy, has a match. 003 has to be there. 004 has to be there. Keep in mind, the set of user ID, they have to be like in a well-built system. These guys, they have to be in this table because this might be the first step. This is the step where you actually got those users to install your app and do some sign up. So I can have this list as all of those guys who signed up to my app or my website and their corresponding name. And I don't know whether they have created any session or not. So every guy who is going to create a session, first they have to sign up. And if they're signing up, they must be in the users table, given that this users table is going to capture everything from the sign up. I'm hoping this is making sense to you guys because this user ID, it has to be a subset of all those user ID that is existing here. I cannot have a guy here who is not present here because first that person has to be in this table, then only he is allowed to go and create a session. Okay, so I can just go for an inner join first of all, and I'll tell you why left join is going to be the same. Inner join, and it is going to give me the result. From 001 is going to give Amit, again Amit, 003 is going to be Sam, and 4 is going to be Ankit. Now talk about inner join. Again, what does it mean, right? You just need everything from the left and the matching from the right, and obviously everything is going to be matching from the right. Okay, so this has to give you the same set of results. Now what the system is trying to do whenever it's doing any kind of join. Okay, so now comes the main part. Forget about the type of join. Okay, type of join is very simple. Inner, give me only the matching record from row table. Left, give me everything from left and the matching from right. Right, matching like everything from right and matching from left. Outer is everything from left, everything from right, and all the matching records. I'm not talking about the formula. Okay, what I'm talking about is the matching condition. Okay, so what the system is trying to do is trying to match every row from one table to every row from the other table. I'll repeat that again. The system is trying to match every row from one table to every row from the other table, and the action is going to be succeeded or not. It is going to be based on the matching condition, if they are being met or not. So I want to join this row with every possible row in this table based on what? Based on what? So based on, let's say, where I can say on clause, that's how we write it, on t1 dot user id is equal to t2 dot user id. For the data system कि भाई मेरे को इन दोनों टेबल्स के वही रोज टू मैच करा, एज सिंपल एज दैट. जहाँ पे टेबल 1 का user ID is same as table 2 का user ID. So what it's trying to do is going to take the first row and try to match from the rest of the table. I'm just going to get one match. Okay, so correspond, I'm just going to write this here, S1, S2, S3, S4. 1 is the row number, S is the table starting letter. I'm going to write as U1, U2, U3, U4 and U5. Listen very carefully. Okay, so system is trying to match S1 with every use here. Now tell me how many cases the system is going to succeed, okay, and how many matches it's going to get for each row. And this is a very important question, so I'm just going to throw you a random name. Okay. Harshvardhan. No, no. You probably know the answer. I'm not going to ask you. Suman, can you go?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The system is trying to match S1 with any possible rows from the users table, that is U1, U2, U3, U4,
U1.
U5, based on a
Yes.
certain condition. That condition is T1 का मेरा user ID, T2 का user ID से match होना चाहिए. Can you tell me how many matches the system is going to get for every row from session table? तो S1 के corresponding कितने matches मिलेंगे मेरे को?
1.
1. So one match is S1 and U1. Can you see that?
U1. Yes,
ठीक
sir.
है. Second बता, S2 के corresponding.
1.
Very good. S2 corresponding देखो मिलेगा फिर से कौन सा? U1 या U2?
U1. U1.
Very good. S3 corresponding.
U3.
S3 corresponding U3.
3.
S4?
S4. U4.
U4. Can you see that how many rows I'm going to get? S1, S2, S3, S4.
S4.
Okay, because we are getting matches for every row, given that we are just trying to match the user ID, right? So we're going to get 4 rows. If I have to find the number of distinct users who have created a legitimate session, how are you going to do that? How are you going to write the query, given that you know the join? What you're going to count first of all? So you have, let's say, a final table where you have returned the user ID and the corresponding name. Okay, so in the select you are mentioning कि मेरे को भाई T1 से तू दे दे user ID दे दे, ठीक है, और मे बी गिव मी T2 का नेम, T2 से तू मेरे को नेम दे. Keep in mind user ID is also present in T2, so I could also write T1 dot user ID. Instead of that, I could also write T2 dot user ID, because again it's going to be the same information. Okay, so that's an optional thing. Okay, but I know that it is going to be only those set of users who have created a session. Now I want to find those unique count of users who have created a session. To answer that question, first of all, do you think you even need a join? If I have to
No, we can directly do it from session table, count
we
the user.
first of all I need to know the name. Who is saying?
Harsh,
हर्ष तू चुप रहे यार, तेरे को भगा दूंगा मैं, तेरे को नहीं बोलने का, ठीक है. Again, no offense, sir. I'm just kidding, by the way. Okay, Harsh, apart from you, uh, Rahul.
Yes.
हाँ
Yes.
भाई, हाँ भाई, कुछ तो हर्ष ने बोला. I'm hoping you did not listen. Can you repeat what he said? If I just need to
Uh,
get the list of unique count, I mean just a list of users, or maybe just count of the unique users who have created a session, do we need a join for that?
no.
No, how
We
can we
can
do
only
that?
use select
Uh-huh.
distinct user ID from table, so we can get it.
From session table we can get it, right?
Yeah.
But
Uh,
if we need the name, right, that means we need some sort of join. Okay, the
yeah.
question is, if we need the names of all those guys who have created a session, okay, in that case suppose I need a list of all those names. So first of all I have to do the join, because the name is not present in the session table. Okay, so you have to do the join, and then you can count the names. Okay. Okay, this should be fine as of now. Let me go into like a different problem. Left join is clear, right? Left join, again, the Venn diagram, the boring Venn diagram is inner join is just going to be taking care of the middle part, whatever is common. Left join, I'm just going to just erase this and rub this whole thing, like make this whole thing dash, it's going to be the left join and the matching from the right. And right join में बस इसको मैं कर दूंगा. Again, it's very boring, no issues on that. Okay, let's go with a different problem. Again, I'll use the same table, so just copy it. Just give me a second. And this is just going to test कि यार पिछले क्लासेस में तुम्हें कुछ समझ में भी आया कि नहीं आया, or maybe whatever I'm telling you right now, is that making sense or not. Okay, so let's talk about left join. Very basic. Left join basics. Okay, क्या कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे? The whole funda is get me everything from left and the matching record from right. Okay, in this case the left and inner is going to be the same because everything from left is going to match to the right. Let's talk about the right join. Okay, in this problem the left join is going to be pretty simple as the inner join. So in case of right join, the question is very simple. Okay, I want all of those users who have not created a given session. I'll give you 2 minutes to think about it. I want all of those user IDs, or maybe I just want, I'll make the question very precise. Count of all user IDs. Basically, I'm asking about how many users are there. Count of all user IDs who have not created a session. I'll give you 2 minutes to think about it, okay? I'll be back in a minute. Just a second. यार आंसर सबके रेडी होने चाहिए. I can ask anyone, okay? So again, you have 2 minutes. Okay, apart from Harshvardhan, anyone has the answer for the same. And again, this is a bit unfair to ask you without me having like explained that already, but I'm just trying to see like how far can you think. Prateek, yeah, go ahead, yaar.
Sir, using the second table, we can find out the total number of users minus the users which are matching in both the tables using joins.
Okay, the logic is fine, kind of like all the users from the users table minus all the users from the sessions table, right?
Which are matching with the in both the tables, sir, using joins.
You don't need to match. Like if you think about just the difference mathematically, I just need to find all of the users who are in the user table and accept all of the users who are in the session table because they have created a session, right? So for example,
yes.
so I already have 1, 3, and 4 here. So somehow I need to find a code which is just going to identify 2 and 5 because these guys they haven't created a session. But how are you going to write that in form of code?
Sir, can we apply the inner join on user ID level?
I cannot hear you properly, Devendra. Can you be a little louder?
Yes, sir. Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Sir, can we apply the inner join on user ID level in both the table and apply the where condition where SSID is null?
Inner join तो लगा देगा ना यार. Inner join का मतलब ये only matching things are going to be considered. फिर उसके बाद you cannot change it, right?
Yes, sir.
Inner join by default is going to be the case where only matching things are considered. Okay, so you want right tables, non-matching entities. Are you with me?
Right join. Oh, okay,
Right
okay, sir.
tables, users tables, non-matching entity. How can you do that?
Sir, we can apply the right join. So right join will reflect all the data from right side table and the matching data with the left side table.
Okay, so what is going to be that our particular query. Can you help me with that?
Yes, sir.
Let's say I just want the count of, let's say I just want the user IDs, okay, from the right table where they haven't created a session in the left table. What will be the query for the same? I just want to list the user ID. So the output, I'll make it a little bit easier for you. Output is just going to be user ID, and these user ID they haven't created a session in the left table. How can I find that? Anyone with the answer here? It's not that difficult. Shwazan, चल ठीक है तू ही बता. Pramod, Nikhil, or maybe I'll go with Nikhil this time. Nikhil, yeah, give me the answer here.
पूरा क्वेरी बताओ क्या?
कुछ नहीं समझा
हेलो.
मैं, कुछ नहीं समझा मेरे को क्या बोला तू.
Should I have to tell the whole query?
Hmm. First of all, give me the logic. First of all, give me the logic how you're going to extract it. Then the query part is the most boring part. पहले मेरे को logic बता कैसे निकालेगा तू.
So from the users table we can do the right join.
Use table right
So
right में कौन सा table होगा, left में कौन सा होगा.
whatever, मतलब अगर हम लेफ्ट में यूजर्स टेबल रखते हैं तो लेफ्ट जॉइन यूजर, सो वी विल गेट द and we will join with the session, so we will get all the users from the left table
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
who have the name, and when we can apply the filter condition where sessions dot session id is null, so
Okay.
we will get the your user who have not created a session.
Right, right. The answer is correct. The answer is correct, but I'm not sure many of you understood what he's trying to say. So let me just explain. Okay. First of all, whenever the system is trying to match every row from the other row, okay, from the join condition, you're going to return certain select columns, right? So there are certain things that you're going to return. If there is a matching row with the condition and there is some certain value that you're requesting from the data, it will be there. Otherwise, it's going to be none. So what this person is saying, what Nikhil is saying, that I want to join users with session, okay, keep this user table in the left and session to the right. So basically saying select something. I'm not going to talk about that something, okay, from users, let's say T1, left join, the session was sessions, T2, okay, and what you're trying to join on, let's say basically we're just looking at the user ID, right? Okay, so on T1 dot user ID, and okay, I'll be talking about multiple conditions. This is just one single condition, as I talked about in the previous slide. Matching condition, it doesn't have to be just one condition, it can be multiple conditions, right? So we'll talk about it in a bit. So in this case, we're just dealing with the matching user ID, nothing else is there. So on T1 dot user ID is equal to T2 dot user ID. Let me give you a demo of what the system is going to do. Okay, so now this table is to the left and this table is to the right. Okay, so users is your T1 and sessions is your T2. Okay, what does left join do? Get me every row from left table and all the matching row from the right table. The system is going to try to join U1 with every guy from sessions table, that means S1, S2, S3, S4. U1 का join करना चाहूँगा मैं, कुछ मिलेगा क्या matching user ID का? Yes, I'll get user 1 and let's say I'm trying to return 3 different columns. Okay, so I'm trying to return T1 dot user ID. This is going to make much more sense now. T1 dot user ID, T1 dot name, and T2 dot, let's say he said session ID. Doesn't matter मैं क्या return कर रहा हूँ, but for the example it's going to be fine. Okay, so I want T1 का user ID, T1 का name and T2 का session ID. Okay, users table is my left table, sessions table is my right table. The join or the matching clause is T1 का user ID has to be equal to T2's user ID. Okay, let's try to do this on a system level. U1 is going to be try to match S1, S2, S3, S4. What I'm going to get? Am I going to get user ID? Yes, because I'm requesting that user ID from T1 and everything from T1 has to be returned. So I'm going to get my results 001 but I'm going to get T1 dot name. Yes, I'm going to get Amit. T2 dot session ID. Is there a matching record for 001 in session ID? Yes, it is. There is session ID S1, S0, S0. Okay. Is there another matching ID? 001 corresponding यहाँ पे दो यार. There is 001 and again there is 001. So for this guy, there are two matching rows. This one as well as this one. So for each row corresponding to Amit, just give me a second. The cat is making noise here. Okay, sorry. So for this Amit guy 001, we are going to get two matches. So 001 Amit is going to be repeated twice. One for session S0 or S0, and the second one for session S1. Okay. Nikhil, can you go forward and complete the rest of the result?
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So for the 002,
For 002,
Rahul
Rahul,
and Null.
null because
There is no session for.
because there is no
There is
session
no
for
matching.
there is no matching for 02 Rahul guy. So this is going to be null. Very good. Yeah. आगे.
फिर 003,
Keep in mind we need everything from users table. So 003
Sam
Sam
and session ID S2.
S2. Cool. Next.
Then 004,
I'll repeat again 004
Ankit
Ankit
S3.
S3. Are we done?
और एक रह गया 005,
005
again Ankit.
Ankit. Is this the same Ankit?
नहीं
Or
ये मतलब this will be different.
this will be
But he
different
has
because the
same
user
name.
ID is different. This is a different Ankit.
Different.
Maybe he's a different surname. Maybe his father name is different. It could be the two guys are having the same surname. It's also possible, right? But this is a different Ankit that we know. Okay. इसके corresponding कुछ आएगा?
Null.
None, because there is no matching for Ankit who has got user ID of 005. So I hope this is clear to you guys. कैसे matching हो रही है? For every row of a given table, the system is going to try to match it with every row of the other table, and it's going to be returned only if the matching clause is met. Okay. So let's go to the next problem. Maybe I'll use the same example here, or maybe a different. I don't know. In this case, can I go with outer plan? Let me see. Yeah, maybe a different table is going to be good. Column 1, column 2, not being specific about the names, should be fine. And let's say we have a table, again column 1, column 2, column 3. Okay, let's say we have a city, column 1 is city, and column 2 is sales rep ID. Keep in mind city and sales rep ID. Maybe I can add another here. And let's say this is column 3. You can name maybe column 3 or whatever I'm going to write. And let's just say this is sales volume. Just sales. Okay, so we have 3 columns in a given table. Let's call this a sales table. Again, very typical. City, sales rep ID, sales, and maybe I'll just get rid of this. This is sales rep ID, and maybe here's email. Okay. Let's say we have 3 guys. City मैं बोल देता हूँ यार मैं C1, C1, C2, C2, C2. Doesn't matter. S1, S2, S3, S4, S5. Okay, column 3 sales है ना कुछ भी हो सकता है ये volume. let's say P1, P1, P2, P3, P3. Keep in mind what kind of structure I'm having. I'm not putting any random thing here. Column 1 is city. Okay, in a given city I can have multiple sales rep ID. Okay, so that's why you're seeing C1, 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 same city but different sales rep ID. Again C2, C2, C2. There are three guys with the same city. Okay, so keep in mind what I'm trying to do here. Maybe if I'm going to ask you a question here, इस टेबल में कोई अगर एक प्राइमरी कैंडिडेट हो सकता है, can that be city? No. Can that be sales rep ID? Maybe yes. Okay, depending on the condition, but in this case let's say a given sales rep ID is only operating in a given city, not in multiple city. So I can have sales rep ID as a primary key. Okay, here I'm just having the sales rep ID and the email. So let's say S1 is there, E1, S2, S5, S7, E2, E5, E7. This is a list of all those sales rep ID with their email information. Okay, I cannot have all the sales rep ID with email information. Maybe it is missing for some of those guys. Okay, so this is an email table, and you can say this is a sales table. Now, if I want, again, this is going to be a cross questionnaire, right? So I just want to see what you have learned till now. So Devendra, not Devendra, maybe Rahul. Am I audible here?
Yes, yes.
Rahul, can you give me the answer for? I want to know all of those email IDs corresponding to the sales reps who are working in city C1. Think about
In
it for a
cities.
moment. I want those sales rep IDs and the corresponding emails who are working in city C1.
क्वेरी लिखना है.
हाँ हाँ बताओ, पहले तो लॉजिक बताओ, सबसे पहले लॉजिक इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्वेरी बाद में.
Um, ये
I hope the question is clear to you guys here, and this is for everyone. I want all of those sales rep IDs and their corresponding emails who are working in city C1.
हाँ, select select
यार
email.
तो query बता रहा है, फिर से तो query बता रहा है. I asked you to tell me the logic first.
अच्छा, logic.
Query is the boring part. I'm telling you again.
From email table.
हाँ, किसको किसको ज्वाइन करना है? पहले तो ईमेल और सेल्स को ज्वाइन करना है. चल ठीक है, दो टेबल को ज्वाइन करना है. What kind of join I'm going to use? What kind of joining clause I'm going to use? Will there be any filtering? So these are three things I want you to answer.
यहाँ पे लेफ्ट का यूज करेंगे.
Okay.
लेफ्ट जो है.
Left join. Left join, that means you have to mention which table is on to the left and which table is on to the right.
Yeah, left mean email. Email table will be the left join.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
And the left join email.
आगे बोल,
Um,
आगे बोल, आगे बोल.
left email from
Right join में क्या?
sales.
Left is email, right is what?
Right is sales.
Right is sales. That means you're trying to join, you're going to write some select from, just let's talk orally, right? From email,
From email.
call it T1. Okay? From email T1, then
To
left join, right join, कुछ तो बोलेगा.
left
Left join sales
sales
T2.
to
Now you might be wondering why I am doing this, why I'm not writing, right? Again, this is not going to be a spoon feeding session. Okay, you are supposed to answer what I have taught you in the previous minutes. And in the interview, यार कोई तुम्हें बैठ के, you're not going to be given a database, right? You're not going to be given a database जहाँ पे तुम चला के you can test it out whether the query is going to be right or wrong. So you have to come up with the answer right on the spot. And in many cases, damn, they are going to give you a window, right? You have to solve this problem in 5 minutes. You're going to solve this problem in 10 minutes. Maybe you're going to solve it, but instead of 5 minutes, you're going to do in 30 minutes, rejected. Because for a work that is supposed to take 5, you're taking 6 times more. A work that is supposed to be finished in 1 hour, you're going to take 6 hours. Why should they hire you? Okay, so just think on your feet and give me the answer orally first of all, and then we'll go about the query bit. Okay, तो अभी तक सही जा रहा है, ठीक है. Select something something, email T1, left join sales T2 on.
On T1 email, T1 dot email equal to T2 dot sales.
ये भाई क्या कर रहा है तू? What is the joining clause? I want you to think about it for a moment. What is the joining clause? What are the matching columns you are getting from those two tables, by the way?
Matching columns.
Yeah.
Seat column cells matching column ये होगा column 2 मतलब sales reference ID.
सेल्स रेफ आईडी. तुमने अभी ईमेल क्यों बोला फिर? सोच के बोलो भाई. बहुत ही लो स्टेक सिनेरियो है यहाँ पे. नॉट एन इंटरव्यू, इट्स अ बेसिक क्लास. ओके, सपोज टू मेक मिस्टेक्स, बट अगेन थोड़ा मिस्टेक का भी स्टैंडर्ड रखो यार. ठीक है, आगे.
Sales reference ID.
हम्म.
Then after
वेयर ऑन क्लॉज क्या बोल रहा है? तो व्हाट इज द ऑन क्लॉज हियर?
on email T1 equal to T2 sales T2.
सेल्स T2. चलो ठीक है, तू बोलना सही चाह रहा है, बट यू आर नॉट गिविंग मी द राइट नेम्स. निखिल, कैन यू हेल्प मी आउट यार?
On T1 dot self ref ID is equal to T2 dot self ref ID.
बट बस यहीं पे हो जा. ठीक है, दिस इज करेक्ट. ओके, वी आर ट्राइंग टू जॉइन दीज टू टेबल्स एंड द ओनली मैचिंग कॉलम दैट वी हैव in this case as per our requirement is sales rep id. I'm just going to match T1 dot sales rep id is equal to T2 dot sales rep id. But the question is, we also want to make sure that those results are only pertain to a given city, that is C1. Pramod, can you help me on that? What will be the final thing to get the final answer?
Yes, uh, after joining, we have to apply a
भाई
where clause.
outer joining कहाँ से हो गया? We have just
After
decided.
नहीं ज्वाइन करने के बाद.
Okay, after joining. मुझे लगा outer joining बोल रहा है. Sorry. Okay.
आफ्टर joining ये कंडीशन लगाएंगे वेयर T1 डॉट क्या लिखा आपने कॉलम 1.
Column 1 name is city, column 2 name is sales rep
Okay,
id,
okay.
column 3 is sales.
Where T1 dot CT equal to C1.
What was your T1? T1 was sales or T1 was email?
Sales. Consider.
Okay, so are you can you you're not listening properly. What was the query? Can you repeat everything?
Okay. Select.
Forget about the column what I want to return.
Okay.
Start with the from.
Select T2 dot email.
Okay, you want me to write it? I'll write it यार. तू यार confuse कर रहा है. आगे कभी T1 बोल रहा, कभी T2 बोल रहा. But again, tell me. Select
T2 dot email.
T2 dot email.
Uh,
I want sales rep ID and the corresponding emails. Okay, so there are two columns that I require. Go ahead.
okay. Sales reference ID and email, right?
Sales rep ID and email.
Email. और, T2 dot email comma T2 dot sales reference ID. From email T2 on
इसके बाद सीधे on.
okay. Right join. Inner join.
Okay.
Inner join T1 dot sales reference ID. Okay, one
Inner join what?
join sales T1 dot
Sales T1
on T1 dot sales reference ID is equal to T2 dot sales reference ID where
Okay.
T1 dot
Everyone has to be listening carefully. I can ask to anyone why he has given solution and if that is correct or not. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि प्रमोद बोल रहा है सब लोग ऐसा कुछ कुछ तो कर रहे हैं. Okay, so be very attentive. Go ahead यार.
Okay. Where T1.C2 C1,
T1.ct
sorry,
name is city. Okay.
T1.ct equal to
Mm-hmm.
C1
C1.
bracket. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, you gave me the answer. Select T2.email. I'm calling email as T2. Again, bit unconventional, but again, it's not wrong. I can call email as T10, right? And I can call sales as T11. Doesn't matter. T99. The naming doesn't matter. Okay, so the convention is basically if email is coming first, you write it T1, but again, this is also going to be fine. So select T2.email. I'm asking for email and sales rep ID from this email table. I'm trying to join, again inner join with sales table on again the matching columns, again just only sales rep ID, where T1.ct is equal to C1. Nikhil, can you tell me if this is going to give me the same answer as the left join, email left join sales, or is it going to give me a different answer?
If the filter condition is same, then it will give the same answer.
Filter condition is same, there is going to be the same answer because again like yeah, S1, S2, S5, S7. Okay, I want the condition of all those guys and the respective. By the way, what was the question? Like, we want everything from the right table or everything from the left table? What did I start with? I'm just getting
All the question was all the emails we have to take.
all the emails
Emails.
from the email table,
Yes. Just sales ID.
right? And who those guys who are working in
Oh,
the
C.
city, right?
Yes,
Or city
CT1.
C1,
CC1.
right? So I can just execute the query which is going to take care of all these guys, right? Try to find their city and filter out on based on that where city is going to be C1. So I'm just trying to join email and sales. Okay. First of all, S1. Now let's just say S1 is going to be joined with some guy, again first row. S2 is going to be just again one row. S5 has one matching. S7 doesn't have any matching. So how many matchings I'm going to get? Forget about the final filtering clause. How many matchings I'm going to get? Only corresponding to S1, S2 and S5. 3 matching. But again there has to be some sort of filtering. So corresponding to S1, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to write it out. It's very important here. Corresponding to S1, E1, and what is the city here? Suppose I'm just trying to find sales rep ID, email, and the corresponding city. So S1, E1,
C1.
and it's going to be
C1.
C1. Okay? S2, E2, again C1 because corresponding to S2 we have again C1. S5, E5, does S5 has any match? Yeah, it is C2. S7 के corresponding कोई match आएगा क्या? I'm trying to do inner join, right? So S7 won't be even considered because it doesn't have the matching. So I won't have S7. So now this is the result of just this thing. Okay? After this statement is executed, first of all, the system is going to get this result. But I have specified कि यार मेरे को वही चाहिए city जहाँ पे city की value C1 है. That means I only want email and the corresponding sales rep ID where the city value is C1. That means this also is going to be filtered out finally with this clause. But before this, all these 3 guys will be available. Now filtering C2 हटा दिया, बस मेरे को C1 से मिला. And how many emails and how many guys do I have? I just have S1 corresponding to E1 and S2 corresponding to E2. Okay, should be very clear. Okay, now I'm going to give you one problem and you have at max 5 minutes to solve it. Again, pen and paper अगर होगा तो करो, नहीं है orally करो, but I need the answer. Action 1 मतलब let's say query 1 का action क्या है मेरा? left join है, left join, and how I'm going sales left email. So this is email, this is sales. First is my left join, Query 2 is right join. Query 3 is inner, and something I haven't taught you already is outer. But let me just see if you are able to find out. Okay, I'll give you a primer. Outer join takes care of everything from the left table, again returns everything from the right table, and also their matching records. Okay, so I expect that you are going to give me the answer correctly for at least left, right, and inner. Now, what do I want? How many rows are going to be returned if I'm going to do a join of sales and email? Okay, लेफ्ट का मतलब सेल्स हमेशा इधर ही रहने का, ईमेल इधर रहने का. अगर राइट ऑन कर रहा हूँ, इट इज गोइंग टू लिफ्ट कर रहा हूँ सेल्स लेफ्ट ईमेल, राइट कर रहा हूँ अगेन सेल्स राइट email, inner again sales inner email, and sales outer email. Left join is also known as left outer join, right join is also known as right outer join, and join is sometimes known as full outer join. But again, the naming doesn't matter. Just keep in mind left join, right join, inner join, outer join, and that could be the clause. So in the function, you can write left outer join the SQL query, or maybe you can just write left join. It's going to be the same in the syntax level I'm talking about. Okay, so left join and left outer join is going to be the same. Similarly, right join and right outer join is going to be same. You just have to tell me how many rows will be returned if I'm going to do a left join, right join, inner join, and outer join with sales and email table. Sales come first, email comes second. Give me the number of rows. You have 5 minutes max. If you have any questions, just ask me right now. While you are trying to solve it, I'll make your life easier. So this is going to be the join kind of clause, and similarly and you can write some T1, T2, some alias, right? So sales T1, left join emails T2, sales T1, right join emails T2. That is understood, okay? And this time I'm going to ask question to those who I haven't asked in this class. So maybe a couple of guys are out. No Ashwardhan, no Nikhil, no Pramod, no Rahul. We will focus on Vijay, Vibhor, and Varun, and Suman. Guys, be ready, yaar. And Prashant, maybe. Just give me a minute. Okay, how many of you have the answer? Just give me a hand here. Nice, nice. Vibhu, Pratik, Devendra, Prashant, Nikhil, Okay, I'll go with Vibhor. Harshvardhan, I'll come to you for the outer join. So be ready. Okay. Vibhor,
या हैप्पी सिर्फ सिलेक्ट ज्वाइन ईमेल में वो 5
कौन बोल रहा
आएगा
है? कौन बोल रहा है? कौन बोल रहा है?
बिफोर
विभोर, क्या
या
विभोर?
सिर्फ सिलेक्ट ज्वाइन ईमेल में 5
आंसर बता रहा है, क्या बोल रहा है तू? आंसर बता रहा है तू?
या आंसर बता रहा हूँ
चलो ठीक है, बताओ यार, आई बी हैप्पी। आई एम होपिंग यार सबका कुछ ना कुछ ट्राई करके हो गया होगा। ओके, सो शुड बी फाइन। सो लेट्स गो विद द आंसर। क्वेरी वन, टेल मी हाउ मेनी गाइस आई एम गोइंग टू गेट। सो या
5
लेफ्ट
फर्स्ट
जॉइन
वन
में तो बोल रहा है 5। फर्स्ट वाले में 5, आई जस्ट राइट इट डाउन, ठीक है।
सिर्फ राइट ज्वाइन में 4
हाउ मेनी रोज विल बी returned? Okay, and columns I can have maybe getting one column, maybe all 5 columns, because at my disposal I have all the columns from both the table accessible to me. If there is a
या
matching record, it's going to be a non-null value. If it is non-matching, it's going to be a null value. But for the record, I'm saying I have accessible all these 5 columns. Okay, so
या
I'm not bothering about column, I'm talking about how many rows. Okay, return. तो पहले में 5 या सेकंड में बताओ।
4
4, ठीक है।
इनर ज्वाइन में 3
चलो अभी रहने दे, लेट्स सी इफ दिस करेक्ट और नॉट। प्रशांत, कैन यू टेल मी
Yes,
इफ दिस
Krish.
गाय इज करेक्ट और वुड यू लाइक टू करेक्ट समथिंग?
No, he is correct.
Is correct?
Yes.
Prashant, spare some time and explain how I'm going to get 5 rows and what rows I'll be getting the matching with or for.
Yes. Yeah. First
Just
one
just go
left
with
join.
the left join, yeah.
Yeah. In the left join, it will return the all records in the left table. That is uh, email. Sorry, wait, that is sales table and the matching records from email. I mean email table,
Mm-hmm.
which will be S1, S2, S3, S4, and S5.
And how many matchings will I get?
Uh, three matchings you will get.
3 matchings, S1, S2 and S5.
S3,
But in
S5.
total I'm going to get all of the records from the left table. So 5
Yeah.
is seems correct. Okay, what about the right join here?
Right join will do the same, except it will return all the records from the right table and the matching from the left, which will be uh, S1, S2, S5, and S7,
Okay.
uh, and the corresponding records in the right table. That would be C1. S1 will get C1,
Corresponding
S2.
records from the left table, because you are keeping email as the right, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Email
Sorry,
को तुमने right
I
बोला ना,
keep
तो sales
confused
is going
between
to
the
be left, right?
hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sales is going to be the left, email is going to be the right. So everything you're going to get from the right table, that is the email table. So S1, S2, S5, S7, these records you will be getting, but the matching record will only be available for S1, S2 and
S2, S5.
S5. So in total I'm going to
Yes.
get 4 records and matching record for 3 guys. Okay. And if I'm trying to return city, how many null values in city I'm going to get?
For S7, you will get a null value
Only
1.
for S7, because there is no S7 in the sales gap. Very good यार, very good. Okay. चलो 2 लोगों ने सही आंसर दिया है. I'm going to go for Varun. Have you answered any questions so far today's class?
No, no, not.
चलो तो इनर में बताओ यार, इनर में ये बंदा सही बोल रहा है गलत बोल रहा है, पहले तो इसको बताओ यार तुम।
सही बोले।
कैसे?
क्योंकि ये जो लिखा है S1 S2 और S5 यही वाला आएगा इस इनर
इनर में
वाले
बस I'm just going to get 3 matches, S1, S2
yes
and S5.
S5
Okay, so 3 is correct. Harshvardhan, coming to you guys. How many records will I get in outer join? अगर ये तूने सही बता दिया ना, इसका मतलब you have a firm grasp of everything that has been taught till now. Yeah.
6 rows.
Can you explain?
Yeah.
Let me make it a little bit trickier for you, and maybe a little more
Okay.
explain, like bit more explanation for the other guys, right? So I just want to return, let's say, city, sales rep ID, and email. So 3 columns I want to return: city information, sales rep information and email information. Now you decide कि city कौन से टेबल से आएगा, sales rep किसे आएगा, email से कितना आएगा, ये 3 कॉलम मेरे को रिटर्न करने. How many entries I'm going to get, which entry and which column is going to be null. You have to tell me everything. Okay. So go with the
Okay.
outer join. Batao.
Huh. In the first, I will tell the returns. Okay, C1, S1, and E1.
Okay.
Then
Okay. रुको रुको धीरे धीरे भाई रुको. C1, S1,
S1,
and
E1.
E1. Okay. Maybe I'll just make it easier for you. Again, this is going to be the last leg of this class, so just bear with me. थोड़ा सिंपल कर देता हूँ मैं. Somewhere here. And not possible. चल ठीक है, यहीं पे काम चला लेते हैं अपन. ठीक है, बता.
Hmm. फिर C1, S2, E2,
C1, S2,
S2, E2,
E2,
C2,
C2,
S3, null.
S3, null. I'm not going to tell you
Then
this correct or not. I'm just going to write whatever
uh,
you're going to say. C2,
C2,
S3,
S4. C2, S3 is done already.
C2,
C2, S4,
S4,
null.
null,
C2, S5, E5,
C2, S5,
E5.
E5,
Then null,
null.
null. No, sorry, S7.
तूने तूने बताया नहीं है कि तू सेल सिर्फ कहाँ से उठा रहा है. It's very important.
Sales ref.
Where you are fetching this sales ref from, that is going to decide if this column is going
Okay.
to be null or not null. Are you following me?
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So now tell me
Okay.
where you are
If
going to fetch this sales rep from? T1 or T2?
from T1.
Which is T1? T1 is my sales.
T1 is sales. Yeah.
Okay, so you're fetching it from T1. So I'm going to
Uh,
write T1 dot sales and city to bas yaar T1 में ही है. So automatically it's
mm,
going to T1 dot city and email is in T2
T2.
only. So by default it's
Mm.
going to be T2.
Then null,
Null and here
null,
null
and E7.
E7. Okay. Now Pramod or Nikhil, तेरा बस यही काम है, ये outer join को बताना if this is correct or not. Okay, and I'm going to ask some questions. Okay, so first of all, tell me if this is correct or not. For your help, I can show you these
Uh,
guys again, or maybe I'll just do a zoom out. हाँ यार, चलो.
so this is the left join, no?
Yeah, this is left join. नहीं नहीं, full outer join है भाई. नशे करके
Full
बैठा है क्या
outer
तू?
join.
Full outer join चल रहा है ये. ये बता. Left join, right join, inner join सब कुछ बहुत easy था. That has been done. We are discussing the full outer join.
In I think in the T1 dot cells rep ID में वो S7 आएगा नीचे null की वजह.
T1 dot sales rep ID में
Last column में null, instead of null there should be S7.
ध्यान से देखना वो T1 कौन सा है. तेरे हिसाब से T1 कौन सा है? सेल्स है कि ईमेल है?
Okay, फिर हाँ फिर बराबर है.
दिखना है यहाँ पे. सेल्स इज T1 and email is T2, right?
Right.
Guy,
Right.
Harshad, absolutely correct यार. कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. And again, Nikhil, your feedback is also correct. So again, I'm trying to match every row with other row. Okay, from this table to this table, and there are certain conditions, and there is a certain join clause. Join clause and join type is full auto join. मेरे को सब कुछ चाहिए भाई. तो मैचिंग है नहीं है तो मेरे को सब कुछ दे. Simple as that. C1 का corresponding there is a matching S1, I'll get the data. C1 S2 matching है S2, I'll get the data. C2 that is S3. Again you have to look at this column 2. So this column 2 sales rep ID, and here for S3 we don't have the matching data and I'm asking email from the second table. भाई matching ही नहीं है, कहाँ से कोई mail ID दूँ मैं? So this is going to be null. Simple as that. Again C2 S4 the fourth row. S4 corresponding matching है कोई? कोई S4 नहीं है email वाला. That is also going to be null. S5 S5 C2 S5 S5 corresponding मेरे पास है E5 यार, वो मेरे को चुपचाप मिल जाएगा. Okay. The last thing, again I want everything from the right table as well. Okay, there is guy S7 and there is a corresponding email E7. Now there is no matching from the right, from the left table, that is sales table. So any record that is going to be based on that matching condition, it's not going to be fetched because there is no matching for S7. So any column that you're going to request from sales table, that is going to be by default null, because there is no matching for S7. S7 will be available, E7 will be available, but you are asking for what? Keep in mind the select statement. That is, मेरे को T1 से T निकाल तू और मेरे को T1 से सेल्स रेप निकाल और T2 से ईमेल निकाल. ओके, T2 का ईमेल मेरे को आ गया भाई. E7 is there. There is S7 as well. Do you want it? No. Select statement ने बोला है नहीं, मेरे को T1 से सेल्स रेप मेरे को उठा के दे. T2 को उसने भाव नहीं दिया. Okay, so that is going to be null. Instead of T1, suppose they had asked T2 dot sales rep ID, that is going to be non-null because T2 has sales rep ID S7 available. Okay, तो यहाँ से तो उठा कर चुप्पे से दे देगा क्योंकि दोनों टेबल्स की फुल जॉइन की बात होने वाली है, आउटर जॉइन की बात होने वाली है. Okay, so I guess this should serve as a good primer as in like what joins are and how like the join machinery happens behind the scene. Tomorrow I'm going to do a problem solving session where maybe I'll take 5 or 6 problems. I'll be sending those problems beforehand if you want to have a look at it कि यार क्लास में उसको कैसे अप्रोच करना है वैसे भी, just to get you some extra time. And tomorrow is going to be entirely problem solving session just on joins. Once we are done with that, I can say that okay, 60 to 70% of SQL has been completed. Product case studies 70 to 80% has already been completed. Okay, so you can say that from the preparation level, on an average, 60 to 70% part will be done if you are willing to put some extra effort towards just knowing what the questions are and how I can solve them. Okay, ऐसा नहीं कि बस क्लास में आके बैठ के मैं ही सॉल्व कर रहा हूँ और कुछ क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा हूँ, उससे ज़्यादा टाइम जाएगा. So maybe the class that is supposed to be of 1 hour, that can be curtailed to maybe 20 minutes or maybe 30 minutes or 40 minutes, something like that, depending on how many of you guys are able to answer it. Okay, so with that note, I'll say that that would be all for today's class. Tomorrow,
Hey, Piyush,
yeah, yeah. Anyone?
what will be the class timing for tomorrow?
Class timing,
Because
yeah, by default to मान के चलो, since again like we do have a full time job as well, right? Like as like many of you guys, तो हम लोग ट्राई करते हैं कि यार हफ्ते की क्लास तो तेरी हो ही हो. But again, sometimes it's going to be 9, sometimes it's going to be 9:30, sometimes it's going to be 10. But you can
मैं
expect
इसलिए
it.
पूछ रहा हूँ क्योंकि कल ऑफिस जाना है मेरे को,
कि
तो
कब
थोड़ा
कभी
जल्दी
वापस कभी आएगा?
वापस 8 बजे के अराउंड.
हाँ तो ठीक है ना, क्लास तो मतलब 9 से बाद ही होनी है. The
हाँ ठीक.
earliest time is going to be 9, sometimes it's going to be 9:30, in rare cases it's going to be 10 or 10:15, right? But you can expect it is going to be either 9 or 9:30. I hope you're like fine with that, okay? 9 or 9:30?
ओके ओके
Okay,
गुड.
I'll take that as a yes. ठीक है, किसी को और कुछ पूछना है? Any issue? If no issues are there, we can call it off. Okay, perfect. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's lecture. Bye bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye everyone.